Hey guys, this is Matthew, and I wanted to spend a minute talking about the NVAR home inspection addendum and writing that up, and a couple things to remember when you're doing so. First and foremost, when you're doing your home inspection, you have X number of days that you negotiated. So if you put 7 days in there, you have until 9 p.m. on the 7th day to deliver both the home inspection report by the home inspector as well as a list of deficiencies and exactly what your buyer requests to be fixed from the seller by that 9 p.m. time. So it's two parts. You can't just send one by 9 p.m. and go, I'll get the rest of you tomorrow and we type it up. You need to have both in order to meet the contingency deadline. Second of all, the addendum is very specific about what it needs to have. I'm going to show you the addendum in just a second, but you need to have a list of what's wrong and what you expect to be fixed. You can't just say, here are the items that are wrong, go fix. They need to know what specifically you want done. And you want those things done. The addendum says that receipts will be delivered prior to final walkthrough. I think you should be more specific in your addendum and say specifically, we want all receipts completed by 7 days, or all work be completed and receipts delivered no later than 7 p.m. or 9 p.m. on 7 days prior to the scheduled closing date. And we'll talk about why that is in a minute. You want to make sure you get receipts, and you're going to want to do 2 walkthroughs. That the contract gives you, and we'll just go look at it real quick. Under paragraph 11 in the contract, paragraph 11 in the contract gives that's the access to property. And that paragraph says that you have 7 days prior to closing to do your walkthrough or your inspections, and it's plural. It used to be singular, and it was 5 days. Now it's 7 days and it's plural. So here we go. The seller will provide broker, buyer, inspectors, all those people. In addition, the buyer or buyer's representative will have the right to make walkthrough inspections within 7 days prior to settlement and or occupancy unless otherwise agreed to by buyer and seller. So you could go, we want them 10 days out or 4 days out, depending on how you negotiate it. By default, you have 7 days to make inspections plural. And a habit that I've seen a lot of agents get into that's a really, really bad habit is that you have an 11 a.m. closing, and at 9 a.m. you're going to go do your walkthrough, and surprise, there's something wrong with the property, and repairs weren't done for the home inspection or some other issue. You've given yourself no time to repair those before the scheduled settlement date time, and now you're running around trying to figure out if it's escrow allowed or can it be fixed or what needs to be done. And 9 times out of 10, there's no escrow allowed, so you're going to have to extend closing. Save yourself from that headache. That all results because of bad planning and execution from the agent. You have 7 days. Do 2 inspections. Do one 6 or 7 days before closing. So if all the repairs and receipts are being delivered no later than 7 days prior to closing by 9 p.m., because that's when a day ends in our contract, then go do your first walkthrough inspection on that 7th or 6th day prior to closing, so you can go through with the list of all the stuff on the home inspection addendum to make sure those things are repaired. Then do another walkthrough just before closing to make sure nothing broke, and as they were moving out of the property, or the water wasn't left on, or fire broke out or something in between. So you're going to do 2 inspections. Doesn't take a whole lot of time. The first one's far more important than the second one, but the second one is equally, or has some importance rather. So paragraph 11 talks about what we're allowed to do as buyer agents. Now we go back to the addendum. So let's say that we've done our home inspection and we get this report and it's got some things that are wrong with the property. And this particular report for the property shows that the deck railings are bad. So I'm going to write my addendum, and again here in addendum it repeats what's in the home inspection contingency, and it says that the specific deficiencies in the property, the purchaser would like to sell at a remedy are listed below, together with the purchaser's proposed remedies. So it should look, in my opinion, something like this. My copy paste didn't work, so I went and paused the video, but you'll get the point. So the first area that I put in brackets is home inspection report number 2, page 4. So this is number 2 item, and it is on page 4, so that they know exactly where in the report to go look to have a frame of reference that has the pictures and itemization. Secondly, I'm going to state what the deficiency is. The rear deck boards are loose or damaged and are unsafe. That's our specific issue. The home inspection report, everybody seems to think that because you have very little space here that you are limited to that and you got to use shorthand. Nothing be further from the truth. Be very specific, write out what you want, and if you have more than 2 or 3 things wrong, use another addendum or repeat this page and fill it out accordingly for each item. So again, we stated the specific deficiency. The rear deck boards are loosened or damaged and unsafe. The seller will have, and we're going to speak to the affirmative, we're going to say this is what the seller is going to do, because remember they're signing this addendum and agreement. Seller will have a licensed contractor to repair or replace all loose or damaged boards and bring the construction standard to meet or exceed the current building code. That's it. The buyer are stating this is the problem I want addressed, and here's how I want it addressed. Now there's going to be negotiations back and forth about language, and does it have to be licensed, and does it really have to be code? Your buyer has to decide where their line is on this issue. Our job is to ask for the best protection and standard for our client. And then when you get to the bottom, after you've typed everything else out, then add the seller shall deliver to the buyer all receipts related to this work no later than 9 p.m. 7 days prior to closing. Okay, so the seller shall, after this say, shall have all work completed and deliver to the buyer all receipts related to the work no later than 9 p.m. 7 days prior to closing. So that we're saying very specifically, this is the work we want done, this is the problem, this is what we want done, we want it done by this date, and we want the receipts delivered to us by this time on that date, so that we can go with our buyers to the property, walk around and look and see what work's been done, what the contractor said has been done, and make sure that it's okay. And if it's not, that gives you 7 days prior to closing to get the seller on board with fixing those things or bringing to a standard or negotiating whatever you need to negotiate, so that you're not dealing with this 3-4 hours before closing. So that's it on the home inspection. Make sure it's clear, make sure it's written as the contract states it's to be written, and delivered in the right times. If you have any questions, reach out to your broker. They're more than happy to walk you through this and help you with the verbiage or vernacular that you need to use in order to have an effective addendum. Thanks so much and have a great day.